We are now going to see how to obtain a subgraph from the given graph. Let me say I'm going to create a graph K, a star graph, okay? So it will be nx.star. Yes, you people must remember that we must first import NetworkX as nx before starting creating any graph. Now, so I'm going to create the star graph. K is equal to nx.star graph. Let me say on 10 vertices. I'm going to give nx.draw K but with labels as true. Do you see these 10 vertices here? The labels have started from 0, right? But please note here we have 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. It has given 11 vertices in all. What do we mean by that? There are 10 vertices surrounding the center vertex. Clear? That's okay. Now let us see how to create a subgraph of this graph. I'm going to name my nodes which I'm going to pick up. Let me say nodes as 0, 3 and 5. Right? Now I'm going to create a subgraph of these nodes 0, 3 and 5. Now I've picked up these nodes. I'm going to label the subgraph as K1 equals K dot subgraph, because my subgraph is going to be from the graph K. Subgraph of which nodes? Of the nodes which I've selected here. Is it clear? Now I'm going to draw K1. So it is going to be nx.draw, but again with labels. So with labels as true. So do you see? We have 0, 3 and 5, 0, 3 and 5 here. From this graph, 0 was here, 3 here and 5 is here. So we have obtained a subgraph on these nodes. Now, supposing I create node list as another way of picking up the nodes as 1, 4, 6 and 9, let me say, and I'm going to create the subgraph K2 as K dot subgraph of node list. So I'm going to pick up these nodes 1, 4, 6, 9. I'm going to draw them nx.draw and it's going to be K2 this time, right? K2. Do you see I've obtained all isolated vertices, or rather it's a disconnected graph? Well, you must be knowing the reason, because I haven't selected 0 here from the nodes I picked up. 0 was the center vertex, right? And hence this graph is disconnected. Now we will learn a new graph, something called as G equals, let me say ego nx dot ego graph. What I mean by ego graph, you'll be observing that. I'm going to explain once the graph is created from this graph K, which was earlier created, and I'm going to name 1. What does this mean? I've created a new graph called the ego graph. I've named it as G and it is going to be created from this graph K, which means it is another type of a subgraph. So I've created this ego graph, which is a subgraph of K, but what does this 1 represent? If I give a particular vertex here, this graph G will be the subgraph of all the neighboring nodes of 1, right? So it is going to be an induced subgraph with this node as the center one and all its neighbors surrounding it, right? Now let us check. So it is going to be nx.draw G with labels true. So do you see in the graph K, so in this graph 1 was having only 0 as the neighbor, and hence if I give this vertex 1 here, it is returning only the neighbor 0 with an edge here. So this is a subgraph of this graph K, called particularly the ego graph.